Hey everyone, I'm back again. Um, I will do a second part to the Oracle collection. Um, and I'm talking about, well, my spiritual decks. Like I said with tarot, it's of course a little bit, well, my view on them, of course. Everybody has their own view. But I got a few, they're not too many, but that are really, really spiritual to me. I'm going to start with one that is actually my only astrology deck. It's the Heavenly Bodies Astrology. I only have the small box here. It came with a big box and a book. But yeah, again, it takes up a lot of space. So I will put all the information concerning names and creators and stuff like that in the description again. Because I have a white background, it's a little bit hard, right? It's a very light blue. They're very pastel colors, but I don't think this deck is unknown. I have it in, well, some kind of order because a friend of mine is better at astrology, and she was trying to teach me some things. This is why I have this deck, because I really only have very basic knowledge. Again, I like the deck because it has that ability to give me a sentence, to tap into a subject I know, yeah, a little bit less about, you know. I'm sorry, the sirens, I don't know if you hear them, but they're loud. So yeah, I had the houses here. I put them in order because she gave me some information, and I wanted to see, because she really is an astrologer, how that information would relate really to the cards, which I couldn't do before. I was just, okay, this is it, right? But that was a very nice, very short lesson, and it made me want to work a little bit again with this deck. Because it's not one I use often, and I think it is because, well, I'm not really that familiar. Oh, I see there's a shadow on it. I'm so sorry. Because I'm not too familiar with it, you know, and it's one that I will use now for a specific purpose, but yeah, it's not one that I grab then all the time. So yeah, this one is a little bit outside of, well, maybe the spiritual decks, because I only have one astrology deck, and that's this one. I do like, well, the artwork that is used. I like the soft colors. It's not something I'm normally really attracted to. I already think I said in another video, I'm not really a pink girl. But I enjoy what I'm seeing. You know, it's not overly, or it's not too much, at least. I think that would be the word, right, for me. It's not too much. So I can really concentrate on, okay, what it is telling me, you know. So yeah, this one is the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. And again, my only astrology deck. I thought I will put it in here because there are not too many decks in this category in Oracle wise, you know. So let's move on to another one. I think I told the story in the tarot about my dream, that I was stealing it in my dream. I could not get it delivered here in Belgium, so I thought, well, okay, too bad, you know, I like it, but it's not the end of the world. And then I had that dream, so yeah, I really felt like I needed to have it. The tarot deck is also in my spiritual tarot decks, and yeah, because I got them together, the Oracle one is in my, well, spiritual category concerning Oracle cards. Let me see if I can do something about this shadow. 1 second. Okay, I kind of zoomed in a little bit, so I need to be careful then that I'm not out of screen. There's still a shadowy thing going on, but I will try to stay away from it. So yeah, this one is called The Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. Because of that dream, I tend to use it for dream work. So in a very spiritual way. I like that it has the sections in the elemental categories. This one never really goes wrong. I think the keywords are very useful. Every time I do pull a card, or more cards even with this one, it always tells a beautiful story. And that is how I read. I find it sometimes hard to put things in a spread, because it feels like I'm giving myself boundaries, which is not always a bad thing, of course. But when I read, I really read in a story manner. That means that I can start by card 3 and work my way back, or mix it up. I let my intuition guide me in that way, you know, where to start the story. So yeah, always very on point. It's not something that once it's put down, I really need to think about the message, or I don't get it, or it doesn't fit in that moment, you know. It's very clear to me. So a beautiful deck. I do love the quality of the paper. I'm not really a card snob. As long as I love a deck, I can take a lot. But when this shuffles, it makes that beautiful swish, swish, swish sound. So yeah, I cannot say anything bad about this cardstock. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the vibrant colors of this one, but also the tarot deck from the Sacred Bee collection. Yeah, there's, again, even though these might be decks, sorry, like I said in my tarot part, you know, that I could actually use for an everyday read. They're not spiritual in a sense, and again, I don't mean this in a bad way, that it's like, oh, because most of these are like one card draws, you know, real focus cards to really go deep in, and that's not the case with this one. But I think, like I said, because of that dream and everything around it, you know, it elevated to something else. But yes, definitely a favorite of mine. Again, this one was the Oracle version, the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. Let me see what I have next. Not that they're not all favorites, but I'm gonna save my favorites for last. I showed this one in my Rambly Chat and an Annoying Cat video. It was about pairing tarot and oracle. But this one has definitely a very spiritual feeling to me. It's very shiny. I'm so sorry. You're gonna see my fairy lights bounce off of it. Because, again, this works with elements. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That light is a little bit annoying. Let me go to the shadow part a little bit then. Oh, yay. Okay. I cannot stop it. 1 second. Okay, sorry. Again, I put them off so that you don't have the little lights reflecting. Again, this is what I mean, you know. It's definitely a cardstock that would normally not make me that happy. But because I love the deck, I will take it for what it is. There's definitely a deeper going into the elemental parts. For every element, you have about 20 cards. Let me see, for example, these two. You have the water, and then you have the moon, the star, your earth. You have a few more. And then in that section of water, and in this case ocean, all of these will come back. So we have here river, waterfall, ocean, and then in river you will have moon and star and earth too, you know, and so forth. So it keeps coming back, which again gives it, for me at least, you know, that deeper layer. I love the artwork, like I said in my Rambly video. I love to pair this one because this one I actually searched for to pair with the Serpent Fire Tarot. And I use it then as is. but because it really works with the elements, and you have like 8 cards that are a little bit different. I forgot how he called them because I just shuffle them in. But because even then they keep coming back to the elements, except for a few, like this one, love, you know. So yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Yeah, like I said, I really went looking for a deck that fitted my Serpent Fire, but because it has something else, it has something different, you know. I can definitely call this a spiritual deck, because there's so much to dig into. It's not just the picture and your intuition. Like I said, sky will be like air here, you know, storm and earth. Well, what would that mean for you? I do go back in the book to see how he relates to it. But before I do that, I always like to tap into what that tells me. So yeah, this most of the time also with the Serpent Fire combination pairing, it's a 1-card draw, you know, to really tap into this. And then whatever tarot I put next to it, again, mostly Serpent Fire, will be relating back to this focus card. So this is how it ended up, like I said, with my spiritual decks. Yeah, again, not a fan of that gloss, you know, but it's a beautiful deck. It's not too thick, so it still makes for a good shuffle. It has a nice amount of cards, 88, you know, even more than a tarot. So that gives you the opportunity to really work deep with it without getting that repeating cards, you know, which I like. Because sometimes you get 36 cards in a deck, and I really need to like a deck for me to buy it then with 36 cards. But yeah, I always feel then like, well, there are not that many choices, right? So certain things are gonna come back. And yeah, how relatable will it be then? So I always question that. It's not that I say I will know for sure it's not relatable. It's just a question that keeps popping up in my mind, you know? So I like a big deck. And this one called Alchemy, Elemental, Oracle or something. Again, I will put it in the description. And next one I will do together a little bit because, oh, maybe not, because I'm now close up to avoid the shadowy thing. It's the Wisdom of the Shadow and the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. I wanted this one, but by the time I actually got around to getting it, because I think we all know that story, it's a never-ending wish list, you know, you really want it, and then 2 decks come that you even want more, and, you know, again, you know the story, right? By the time I got around to buy this one already came out. And I saw some walkthroughs of, well, this one in that time because it was new. And I wasn't really sure. There were a few cards that were, well, maybe too modern for my taste. Because again, I think we all have a thing, you know, a preference at least. Let me put this a little bit aside. So this one is then the Wisdom of the Shadow. And this one I loved. I already knew. The other one I was questioning. But again, I think many of you are familiar with this. When you buy one, you want to fill the collection. It's like it needs to be there, you know. So I was really... Am I really in frame? I'm so sorry. So when I was really thinking about it, I ended up buying them both because I was like, well, if I really don't like it, I can always, well, sell it again, right? It's not one of my favorite things to do. But I was like, let's just try it. And, well, the funny part is, don't get me wrong, I love this one. They work in combination. But the other one, the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, I'm sorry, is one that I actually will use separately also. And I feel like I might even use that one more. So yeah, that was kind of, again, a little bit of a surprise, right? We think we know ourselves and then, well, things get flipped upside down. But yeah, a beautiful deck, like I said. Let me show some of the other ones too. Wisdom of the Shadow. These are the backings. So yeah, this one really became not even a favorite, but among the two, you know, I was expecting to love the Shadow one more, and yeah, I ended up actually playing with this one a little bit more than I thought. This is the back of the Divine Feminine, and yeah, because it gives a deeper layer in what you're seeing. Even I think I mentioned not the I'm feeling like I'm not always going for the modern decks, you know. But this one, even though again the art style is not something I would have thought I would like as much as I do, you know. But yeah, it really is a beautiful deck. Again, the combination between the two, you know, when you do work on something like shadow work, I don't always like to call it that way. It's just, well, working to make ourselves, well, more whole, right? We all have light and shadow, and I'm a firm believer that we need both. So getting rid of all your shadow might not actually be a balancing thing. Again, my opinion. But yeah, both decks definitely serve a purpose. And like I said in my tarot video, it's almost like a higher purpose. It taps something deep in you, you know. And I definitely had that first experience with this one. I think that's why, that's what surprised me, you know. So yeah, this one, the Divine Feminine, sorry, beautiful card. So yes, this one definitely became one of the spiritual decks. Oh, isn't she fabulous? Oh, I love this one so much. She actually gives me joy. Because, oh, yeah, I show it, sorry. Yeah, she actually gives me joy. So yeah, definitely a spiritual deck for me. Let's see. Yes, sorry. Again, this is going to be an annoying video. Battery problems on the phone. So I put my charger in. So yes, this one is the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine and the Wisdom of the Shadow. And again, I do feel like they're a set. I mean, I bought them as a set, right? But I also feel, especially then again with this one, at least for me, because I think you can do that with the other one also, of course, that you can definitely also use them separately, you know. And I think it would be a shame not to even try it and only give them that one roll. Because then, yeah, again, you bounce something, you know. You don't take everything out of it that it has to offer. But yeah, again, that's my opinion. So yeah, those two, Wisdom of the Divine Feminine and Wisdom of the Shadow. Okay, now I'm gonna go with my favorites. I already mentioned them, but okay, let's start at the beginning. Because the next three are all Cilla Conway. Yeah, this one is the Devas of Creation, and oh, it's a favorite. I think I said that also about the Shimmering Veil Tarot. If I'm ever in doubt and I don't know which way to go concerning a deck choice, you know, this one will never let me down. These are the backings. Very simple, beautiful. Excuse me. And it has a high amount of cards, which I already said I really, really like. Sorry. So yes, here, this is 0. I think it was called The Void or something, that beginning, right? I think her artwork is something else. It sparks something in me, you know, like I said, it goes deep. And yeah, her artwork is amazing. I would not mind actually having some of these paintings up my wall, you know. Yeah, what is there to say about this? Like I said, for me, very spiritually. I first look at a card and see how that, what that triggers inside of me. What is my intuition? Because you might say when you look at it this way, you know, oh, but that's not too much, right? Some are more, some are less in that sense. But there's always something that triggers in my experience. And then I will definitely go to her book. I think she explains it very well. I think the way she writes is very down to earth, actually makes me laugh. So yeah, the combination of those two, you know, the deck, the book, and I think she gives you that by only giving it a number, because I think she did it with her others, she did it a little bit different, but only giving you that number, yeah, it doesn't give you that jumping off point. And sometimes we might really like that, but I think it might sometimes even stop us in the sense of, oh, we already get it, right? There's already this word and we go from there. By not giving us that, yeah, it really makes you, well, either you go directly to a guidebook, but I think, at least again, my opinion, that you miss an opportunity. Because especially with her art, the way these oil paintings are, there is so much more to it, you know. What does it make you feel? And those feelings, where do they stem from? And so forth and so forth. So, in my opinion, don't directly go to the guidebook, you know. Let it sink in. Sometimes I will leave my reading, you know. I will take it and I already put my tarot underneath it, but I don't know what to do with it. I will leave it. I will leave it be. I need to have hawk eyes on my cats that they're not going to sit on it, you know, but I will leave it be and I will come back to it. And yeah, that never fails. Whether it's a direct connection or I need to leave it for a second, there is always an answer at the end of that reading, you know. So yes, the Devas of creation, very spiritual to me. It definitely taps into something deeper than me or inside of me, and I will tap deeper into something outside of myself. So yes, this one, the Devas of creation by Miss Cilla Conway. Again, one of my favorites. And I think, because I said the rest is all of Cilla Conway, you already know where this is going then. The next one, let me keep it in this one then. It's the multi-dimensional Devas. Again, also Miss Cilla Conway. This one, even though the cards in this one are more luxurious, maybe, because the other one, it feels like, oh, maybe even a normal card stock, you know. I think some will say, oh, but it will break, but I have it already for some time, really some time, and well, I don't have a problem with it. But this, oh, I'm sorry, let me show you the backs first. Yeah, very different, and it has the gold foiling, yeah. And it has a little bit less cards, of course. I think it was, let me check that box, 48. So yeah, that's definitely a little bit less, but still I think a good amount, you know, for any oracle deck. Yeah, and again, it's like we just continued from the Devas of creation, right? It's that same style, it's that same beauty, it's that same depth for me. I absolutely love it. Here she made the numbers appear a little bit better by putting there this white transparent kind of, yeah, thing behind it, so that the numbers will pop better, because it was a problem in some of the others, especially if your eyesight is a little bit less. But yeah, the cards itself, you know, she goes deep again. It's the same format with the book, right? But yeah, the same, I approach it the same way by, yeah, looking at it, letting my intuition speak first. And if I want to, which I normally do in all honesty, I will go to the guidebook. I will see what it's saying there, and I will try to reconcile this with my own, well, first thoughts, you know. But yeah, it never fails. But because it's so much, because it's so deep, again, so spiritual to me at least, one card will do. I just need one card in this oracle sense, and I will build a reading around that, you know. So yes, again, very spiritual to me. Here she started with the black, but with earth, like very, very far away from a very far perspective. But yes, yeah, very deep, again, my opinion. I really love her decks. I'm absolutely not biased about it, you know. I love her decks. However, that don't mean that you need to run if you don't have them to buy them, you know. Make up your own mind. I think we all know what we're looking for, what's missing in our collection, what we're attracted to. And sometimes taking a risk, yeah, might have its... yeah, we might get lucky, you know, in a sense like, oh, it works for me. But that's, again, I think we know ourselves best, you know. If this is something you don't have, but you're not sure, yeah, just because it works for me, it doesn't give a guarantee it will work for you. So let that always be something that you decide for yourself, you know. But again, for me, you know, I love the deck. I'm a big fan of hers. But for example, like I said, you know yourself best. I saw a walkthrough of her new deck, something about the old gods or something, on the channel of the Hermit's Cave, and I'm not sure about that one. I'm just not. I'm gonna let that sink, you know. I'm not gonna make a hasty decision just because I love Cilla Conway. I will let that one be for now, and I will watch some more reviews. From there I will go, but I'm not jumping on it. There is something that's holding me back, so I'm gonna let that sink and see where I go. But yeah, the next one then, the Book of the Dead Oracle. I had the Cosmic Visions by James R. Eads, right? Do I say that correct? And it was not working for me. Okay, don't come for me. Again, that's me. All of his decks, I really wanted to like them, and I had a friend almost crying from laughter, you know, because I had the blue one. These are the backs, and then I will flip through it a little bit. I had the blue one, beautiful gilding, and of the Prisma Vision, right? And even though on the screen, on YouTube walkthroughs, it's absolutely amazing. But then when it was in front of me, it was crickets. It was just not talking to me. And then I saw Miss Kelly from The Truth and Story, and she had the Cosmovision, and she loved it. So I was like, okay, then I need the Cosmovision. Then the blue one will talk to me, you know? Yeah, that didn't happen. I even bought the big book that had the Cosmovision and the Prisma Vision, right? I don't even know anymore. I even bought the big book, and normally I don't do reversals, but I work with reversals, and I spent all that money, and again, it was crickets. So yeah, this is what I mean when I started my story with the other deck, you know. Just because something I say that I love it and it works for me, yeah, it's that don't make it a guarantee for somebody else, you know. And again, vice versa. Like I said, I was so influenced, and I wanted it to work for me like it did for her. Yeah, hashtag, right? Miss Kelly made me do it. No, it was my own fault. I should have known after I bought the first one that it was not working. But I went deeper and deeper, you know. I bought an extra deck, I bought a big book, and again, yeah, nothing. So yeah, let's talk about this one. The Book of the Dead by Cilla Conway. I'm already flipping through it, and I'm talking about another deck. So yeah, because I had that Cosmovision, because this is where I went with it. And even though there was past lives, it was not working for me. It was just not talking to me in that way. And the way this is set up in the different paths for different kind of souls, you know, was beautiful. I don't have another word for it. Here she does give the titles on the cards, which is actually very helpful in this deck, because again, it has a system. There are different kind of paths, you know, for different kind of souls, and I like the progression, you know, in how that's done. And of course, it's her standard is almost not doing it justice, right? But it's her art style. In what we are used to, I think, with the Shimmering Veil Tarot, with the Devas of Creations, multi-dimensional Devas of Creations. And I love that style because, like I said, for me, there's so much to tap into. And in this deck, it's of course a little bit different because, again, it has more of that progression in the steps, in the steps that people, well, that souls will take, you know, in the afterlife. Again, she makes me laugh in this book, yeah, because we come by, for example, this one, the fourth path. What does it said? The obdurate spirit. It's about, well, okay, maybe in layman's terms, you know, a little bit of a bad spirit, right? A bad person. And the way she describes it in that book, you know, it made me laugh. But that's what I mean with her down to earth writing, you know. I really enjoy that. Yeah, and here too, there are definitely some darker cards. Yeah, River of Oil and Blood. But that's what I love in the sense of that balance in a deck, you know. Not everything, again, my opinion at least, can be love and light. The universe is made out of balance. My mother, she wrote this poem in Dutch. But the moral of that poem was, well, how can we ever recognize something good if bad was not present? Because if life would only be good, then we would not even recognize that as good. The balance is good and bad, light and shadow, or light and dark. So I really appreciate that coming back in my decks. And this is why I think I appreciate this one too, because we can have a discussion, well, for hours about how every individual sees it. But at the end of the day, whether I see it exactly the way she sees it, or I see it my own way, the bottom line is, you know, yeah, when a person that would murder or really is a bad person and does bad to other people, will pass on, I don't think we will expect that will have the same kind of transition than a pure soul. And with a pure soul, I really would go to the opposite end in the sense of, what if a baby passes on, you know, before it actually had life? In that sense, that's a very pure soul, right? You cannot tell me that they did anything wrong. So, you know what I mean in that sense, right? That are very different paths, yeah, to walk in the afterlife, again, my opinion. So yeah, I really like this deck. It's definitely one of my favorites. This was also actually the last deck in my spiritual collection. So while I close off, let me flip through some more. So yes, like I said, spiritual decks, very objective, of course. For me, that is when it touches something deep within me, or when I go even beyond me, you know. But anyway, these are the ones that I would like to use in that kind of sense. There were not too much in this collection. I think the next collection, because I have two more, nature-based, animal nature, and, well, religion kind of based. Well, again, let me surprise you. We will see which one comes next. I want to thank you for watching again while I still flip. Thank you if you watched for the first time. I hope to see you soon all again with a different video on a different topic or, well, category in my Oracle collection. We will see. Okay, have a fabulous day, y'all, and see you soon. Bye-bye.